What's up, guys? Tate here. So, it has been about a month since I have touched my dirt bike. With some bad weather as well as some other plans, I just haven't really had time to ride or race or do anything fun for that matter. But today, we are racing the WFO Promotions Hare Scramble at Geneseo, Illinois. So this was a 2-day race. There's a Saturday and a Sunday, and we are racing the Sunday race. So since I haven't touched the bike in a while, the expectations are a little low, but let's go and have some fun. 16 riders in the 201 to open C class, and take a look at that. My bike actually started first kick. So a guy goes down here in the first corner. It looks like things got a little tight in the front of the pack there. We have a very, very fast class today. A lot of really fast guys. And you can see another crash here. We're going out into where the scoring is. And a couple guys go down when crossing the log. The logs are a little slippery today. So as I said, this was a 2-day race. There was the Saturday race and then the Sunday race, which is what we're racing right now. So it's pretty much the exact same course. So this course was beat up to start out with. And with my lack of riding, that is a recipe for a disaster. Not to hint at anything that's to come, but um, take it for what you will. So I'm trying to keep up as much as I can, and I get past here. I'm towards the back of the pack. I don't know what position I'm in exactly, but I think every single bike in our class started first kick in gear, so nobody really had a bad start. The guy on the side there looks like he fell over on this short uphill. A little later on here, show off my lack of riding. Don't even know what happened here. I think I just lost my balance, but crashed, and then one guy gets around me when my bike's on the ground, and I keep the bike running, but um, move up a little bit to get my footing, and I get passed by another guy, both of which were in my class, so not really doing myself any favors early on. So here in front of me is Steve Perkins. He's been talking to me a little bit, and he's a very nice guy. He's racing a CRF 150F or RB, one of the two. But you could see when he got hung up there just how deep these ruts are. So doing this race makes me appreciate what the A and B riders have to deal with on a week-to-week basis after they race on a track that just gets completely destroyed by all the C-class bikes. So this is their normal, I guess. And let me tell you, it just rips you apart. For a week after this race, I just was sore and not feeling the greatest. So right here we can kind of see how I improve from year to year. So I did the Geneseo Hare Scramble last year, and it was in November, so there was snow on the ground, but we went on this uphill, and I really, really struggled to get up it, and a few times I actually didn't get up it. Whereas you can see at this race, I lugged it towards the top of the hill a little bit, but I made it up no problem for the most part. Um, Granted, last year I did motocross mainly, and then this year I've been doing woods, mainly GPs, but not necessarily a fair comparison, but still improvement to say the least. So I make a pass a few seconds ago, and I think that guy on the blue bike, or the Yamaha blue bike, what am I talking about? I ride a blue bike, but I think that guy on the Yamaha was racing too, so I think I got around him, and then this guy pulls over for me, get around him as well. And then right here, lugging just a little too much, install my bike on this log. But I still crossed it. I don't think stalling the bike after I cross it counts as a crash. But moving on now, we're finishing up the first lap. Coming to this open field section to the right, or to the left, I mean, of where we started. And now this is where we entered the track from the start. So we go over this small double log and finish up lap 1. So I think lap 1 took me 22 minutes, so pretty long lap times, especially compared to the last hare scramble I did at Fox Valley, where it was maybe 10 or 11 minute lap times, so significantly longer. But again, this track's kind of beat up and a little bit longer, which explains why the lap times are longer. So this log right here just went at it at an angle, and not a good angle, and then fell over. So gotta square myself up a little bit better when I'm going over the logs. I can't just rely on standing up in order to get over everything. If I would have squared myself up a little bit, then I would have got over it no problem. So we go to this field section, and not really much happens on lap 2, so this is towards the end of the lap. But we can kind of see how much I'm lugging. So I'm getting myself worn out really early in the race, and it's showing on lap 2. And at this point, we're not even halfway through the race, which, for those of you who have never raced a hare scramble before, not really good. So moving forward, definitely need to work on my endurance. I need to work out more, and I need to lay off the Skittles and the chocolate candies and everything. Eat a little bit better. But most importantly, I need to ride more. I can't go a month without riding and then have high expectations for a race, or any expectations whatsoever. This video was not really easy to edit just because some of this riding is painful to watch. But I still had fun. All the, not really negative, but all the criticism beside, or aside, I should say, I still had fun. So we go on this downhill in the middle of the track here, or in the midway through the lap, and then this is a fun side hilling section right here. So we're going to skip a little bit just because not really much is happening in this race. I'm pretty much towards the back of the pack, and everything gets so spread out that it's not really intense battling back and forth. It's more people pulled over on the side and then getting around them. So I spend a lot of the race by myself, which is fine. It was still, a good experience, but not the most exciting video wise. So I finish up another lap here, and we can see lappers are coming through, so making sure to pull over for them. The thing is, it felt like my front tire was flat, so my parents are up here to the side, and I wanted to see if my front tire was in fact flat or if I was crazy.
Is my front tire flat? Is it?
So my front tire isn't flat, so that tells me that I think I put way too much air in my front tire. I put in 12 psi, which is the recommended amount, and let's talk about that later. But first, I feel horrible for this. I was pulling over for this guy, and I lost my balance and crashed him. I messaged him on Instagram. We follow each other on Instagram, just apologizing, and he said no problem, it's racing, it's not a big deal. And all things aside, I still feel very bad for that. But back to my tire. I think I put too much air in it just because it was all over the place and I could not control it at all. And it felt like it was flat, but my dad told me it wasn't. And after the race, I checked and it wasn't. So I think a little bit too much air in the front tire. So we're coming to the end of the race here, and like I said, there wasn't too many interesting things that happened in this race. But regardless, it's time on my bike, so I still had fun, even if it wasn't the most eventful race that I've ever done in my life. You're gonna have those from time to time. So we're coming to the end of the race here, and I finished 12th out of 16. So not the greatest result, but clearly, clearly we can see what I need to do, and that is get seat time. I can't go into these races without riding for a month and expecting good results. So I already went over this, but seat time, seat time, seat time. So that wraps up this video. Next week we will be at Muddy Waters for their first GP ever. See you then.